Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. This is my spoiler review. I have a review up on my blog, soundofbadinmyhead.com. Shouldn't be any spoilers on there. I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5. Just didn't really hate it. It just didn't do anything for me. The plot was okay. The plot actually wasn't too bad. It had a lot of plot holes and some stuff that didn't make sense, but it wasn't bad. I just think the execution was not there. I didn't like the intro. It was a little cute at first. You know, he's telling the story of his son about, you know, how he beat up some pirates, but I don't know. Just the way they try to catch you up with the narration and the images and just I don't know. Just didn't get me in the mood of the movie right away. Just kind of took me out of it, to be honest. Just Arthur's arc, you know, from the last movie about him being like reluctant to become king and then becoming king. Like he kind of takes a step back here. He's just kind of like bored. He seems happy to be the king, but it's like more like a job. He's almost kind of bored. I don't know. It's just his arc felt like it took a little bit of a step back and like not in a good way. Just more like a convenience for the story. If anything, it actually felt like the plot was setting up for him to step down as king by the end and let his brother take over and let him just go out and be the hero. Kind of like a little bit what Thor did in Thor 2, where Thor at the end's like, you know what, I'm not ready to be king, and he let his father stay as king, except, you know, it was Loki in disguise, but that's a whole other movie. It just takes a while for everything to get going. Like, it's like, what are the stakes? Like, why are we, you know, why should we be worried about what's going on in this movie? What's the threat? And it just takes forever. And it's like, okay, global warming, like, is the threat, I guess. And then it kind of is like, okay, they're bringing back this evil king, but it's like, why should we fear him? Is he going to destroy the earth? Is he just going to, you know, take over Atlantis? Like, he's got no, we don't know what his plan is. We don't know what he's supposed to be doing. We don't know why we should fear him. Like, is he going to come back and turn everybody in the world into these zombies? Okay, that's scary. That's a threat. That's a worldwide threat. But it's like, I don't know. He's coming back. He's evil. And for the most part, their kingdom wasn't supposedly evil. It was just they were using this technology that was polluting like the land and the sea. So, you know, they had to be stopped by the old king of Atlantis, and they didn't want to do it because their minds were corrupted by this whatever it was, mineral, liquid, gas. I have no idea what this stuff was supposed to be. So yeah, it takes a while to get any kind of threat, and even when you do, it doesn't really click it. The revenge threat of Black Manta going after Arthur's family was a decent concept, and it's in all the trailers. All the trailers, like, he's going to kill Aquaman's family. You got the shots in the trailer of like his house burning. If you know anything about the comic books, Black Manta actually kills Arthur's infant son. So it was like, that's kind of what I was paying my money for. It's like, okay, I want to see his threat, and I know in the trailers that he gets this trident, he gets more powerful, and that's not the movie we got. And kind of like the last one, we spent a lot of time with Black Manta. Like, it's interesting because they kind of humanize him. Like, he's not just all evil. Like, he's just kind of goofs up a little bit like a normal person would, but he's not made to be sympathetic in any way. He's still a bad guy. He's still determined to kill, you know, anyone that has anything to do with Aquaman, just to get to Aquaman. I mean, he gets even worse when he's possessed, but he's got no redeeming quality. He's not a good guy. He's not like a guy that made mistakes. He's a pirate. He's pissed off that Aquaman killed his dad in the last movie, and he's willing to do anything it takes to get revenge. And, you know, that's just kind of, I don't know, it's just weird to spend so much time with the bad guy's master plan like that when he's like, they're kind of trying to humanize him, and then like his lead scientist, they kind of humanize him too, but it's like, at least he's a little more redeemable. But I don't even know why he kept sticking with the guy. I think it's obvious the guy is going to turn on you. And he's like, oh, I'm going to make him like my number 2 guy. He's got to, you know, make sure this baby gets to, like, you know, where I'm going to sacrifice it. Like, you got a bunch of minions that are willing to do what you want, and they're not going to flip on you. I don't know why, outside of the plot, he was sticking around with this guy. And the other big selling point of this movie is the buddy cop, not even a buddy cop, but the buddy team up of Aquaman and his brother. First of all, there was a couple weird needle drops in this movie that just, they killed the mood. They kind of did something similar in Blue Beetle, where it could have been a big kind of serious action scene. They drop a needle, then it would be like this song lightens the mood. They did a little bit. They did that a couple times here, and they had this one sequence where it's like, okay, we got to break Ocean Master out of prison. If you get caught, you're gonna be starting a war between the kingdoms of Atlantis. It's really, really bad that if you get caught, you got to get in there and sneak in there. So they give him this stealth suit, which I don't know how it made his head disappear too. The suit only covered his body, but whatever. And then they just do like this narration over it, where he's already in the prison. Like, you don't have to see him get to the desert, get inside this building. He's just there. And then it's like I said, it's just kind of done silly. It never felt like there was any chance that they were going to start this war that they were, warning you about. It's just kind of like, whatever. I got my brother, let's go. And it's relatively similar to what you would expect, like what we've seen from like Thor and Loki, so far in other movies, but just not as good. They didn't have the chemistry, for number one. Number two, it's like you're getting the goofball Thor Ragnarok Thor with a kind of Aquaman's character, except just even sillier. Like I don't know, it's like just all Momoa. I mean, Momoa's fun, and it's like he had something interesting in the role, but it's just the whole time he's just over the top, kind of goofy, and then Oren is just too stick in the mud. Like, he doesn't have that charisma of Loki. He doesn't have that mischievous nature. He's just like, I don't want to be here, and you're a jerk, brother. Stop calling me a little brother. It's like, okay, you just added nothing to it, and then none of the action was really interesting. Occasionally be some cool stuff, like especially when Black Manta was doing like some more hand-to-hand stuff, or with weapons, close quarters. I thought there was some nice flourishes in there, but it was also brief. And like all the action, it's all just so CG because they're underwater, so it's like they're always making the hair look like it's flowing because they're not underwater, and it's when they're swimming and doing anything, it's always so fast, so it just looks like animated. Everything looks like CG. It never looks like these people are actually doing anything. And although we nitpick, it goes back to what I said about the humanizing the villains. Weird that they always call him like David. They almost never call him Manta, which again almost makes them feel like they're trying to humanize his character, but they're not trying to give you any sympathy for him. It would make more sense if they're trying to say, yeah, this is a guy who got a bad break. Like, no, he's an asshole, and he always has been, and he always will be. And then even then they tried to have the cute sidekick with the octopus, with Toro, or the cephalopod, and he just didn't add anything to it. Like, okay, like, because he can't communicate, he just makes these squeaky sounds. So it's like, okay, you could still be interesting with your actions, and he didn't really do anything. He had those potential there. That he could be it could have been a fun addition, a little sidekick, add some comic relief to like the duo, but you just show up randomly and then kind of disappear, and it just didn't add anything at all. And like I said, there's just a lot of plot holes in the movie. Like, they got this stuff. It's like, okay, it's a fuel source, but it also corrupts the minds of the people around it. It's like a greenhouse gas, and also it's a mutagen that would make insects and other creatures giant and like carnivorous, I guess. But it doesn't do it to people. It just makes them sometimes go like a little crazy, but not everybody, because everyone was hanging out on this island and nobody was getting going nuts. So it's just this weird, just kind of magic mineral that just did whatever they needed it to do. And then the end, again, then there was no, and it's fine because I know this is the end of the DCEU, but there was no cool cameos, like Superman doesn't show up, and there's no characters like, oh my god, I didn't expect this character. It was just the Aquaman story, which is fine. It's just Aquaman. You got Aquaman 2. I think it's a nice little kind of standalone tale in the DCEU, but obviously DCEU basically ends with Aquaman. The end was okay. You wrapped it up a little bit reminiscent of the end of Black Panther, where they joined the United Nations, and Aquaman basically does it here, and then they had to do the kind of corny, Aquaman finally has this big I'm the king, big serious moment, and then he has to do with and I'm Aquaman, and he does the mic drop and the little scream that he always does, and I guess it's in character, but it just kind of took the steam out of a serious moment, like Aquaman stepping up to be the king and lead his world into the much larger world. But there's probably more than I'm forgetting. It's just wasn't that great of a movie. It had potential, and the stuff I wanted to see, like they said, the revenge plot with Atlanta just kind of gets pushed aside. And they said the buddy team up thing just fell flat, and the action was flat. And if I had my watch on or my phone out, I would have been checking the time because I was just kind of like, all right, is this thing over yet? Even then, when they got to like the big base, like, all right, they're at the base. This should be the finale. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, isn't there a scene in the trailer where he burns Aquaman's house down? It's like either that was in the trailer or we got a whole other sequence coming up. And sure enough, and I thought I was done talking about this movie. I mean, another big point was you really didn't need that much royal blood to activate this seal. And there was like 100 easier ways they could have got royal blood and put it on the seal instead of this convoluted, like, we got to kidnap the baby late in the movie and sacrifice him. And they didn't need any of that. They could have probably stabbed Aquaman at some point and then had the blood on the knife and took of that. Like, I don't know how much blood it needed, but it didn't seem like it needed that much. But anyways, that's probably about it. Like I said, I do have a spoiler-free version of this review up that's probably a little bit more organized than me just rambling here. I have some other reviews. I got some comic strips. All that's at soundedbettermyhead.com, so if you want to check that out, go for it. Other than that, thanks for watching.